Hello everybody, welcome back to another video with Lim Reviews. Now, as you can see on the title down below, it is actually a very interesting smartphone that I have here to share with you guys today. I've been using it for the past 2 weeks and I have a lot of positive thoughts to share with you. So let's talk a little bit about the newly launched Realme GT2 Pro. Now, this device was just landed in Malaysia a couple of hours ago. It came in with a super attractive price point that puts the Realme GT2 Pro here at the most affordable Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 device that you can get today here in Malaysia. Now, the price is going for RM2599, and with that, you are actually getting a lot of specifications. You get 12GB of RAM and 256GB of internal memory right off the bat. And if you look at who is the nearest competitor to the Realme GT2 Pro, the two that I can think of here is number one, the Motorola Edge 30 Pro that is retailing at 2699, and the Xiaomi 12, which is at 2799. Now, the Xiaomi 12 is a much smaller device, so you can't really compare it apple to apple with the Realme GT2 Pro, but the Motorola Edge 30 Pro is something that is actually very similar in terms of specifications. Now, let's check out the box very quickly because we do have a very interesting box. It came in this fully white out box, and at the back here, we actually get a couple of key specifications that Realme really wants you to know. You will see all that and we will go through all the key specifications here today. Now, let's move on and talk a little bit about the design because this is a very interesting part of the Realme GT2 Pro. As you can see from the back panel here, I have mine in this paper white version. There is also a paper green and a normal black version. So this one here is actually very interesting because it comes with a back panel that Realme says is very similar to paper. Now, since you are actually looking at me across the camera and you can't really feel and look at this thing up close, I'm going to tell you straight away, it does not really feel like paper per se. In fact, it does not even feel like a cardboard at all. What it feels like is a little bit rubbery on the back here. I'm just going to scratch my hands a little bit on the back, try and tap on it a little bit more so you can try and get a feel. But yes, that is the kind of feeling that I'm getting here, a little bit more grippy. So whenever I hold it without a case, I don't feel like it is slipping off through my hands straight off. Now, apart from that, if you look at the sides here, we do have this silver sides all around the frame. It is a very slim device coming in at only 8.18mm, and in terms of the weight, it is also quite lightweight here because it has not exceeded the 200-gram bar, which actually makes it very heavy. So this is approximately 180+ grams. So again, very lightweight device. There is also one final thing that I should point out about the design, and that is the whole idea of creating this paper-like back panel is to reduce carbon emissions. And some brands, they are removing the chargers from the box, but Realme here is going for a different approach by trying to save the world, by using a different material back panel. So definitely going to give Realme a thumbs up for that and keeping the charger in the box. Now that we are done with the design, let's talk a little bit about the display at the front. We do have a very nice display at the front. We have a 6.7-inch LTPO 2K AMOLED display that has shown very good colors. Now, of course, since this is an AMOLED panel, you're going to get awesome contrast, very saturated colors, so that's great there. In terms of brightness, it goes all the way up to 1400 nits. So if you are using your device out of doors, most of the time, for instance, if you're using your Waze, your GPS and all that, you will be able to see the display very clearly without any issues. Now, in terms of the refresh rate, yes, it does come with a 120Hz refresh rate and it is variable because of that LTPO, so it will help to save you a little bit on battery life. And in terms of the touch sampling rate, guys, this device here can push out 1000 Hz of touch sampling rate, and that means that when you're playing your games, Realme is saying that it will be very responsive. But honestly speaking, in terms of real world use, I wasn't really able to feel the extra sense of sensitivity on the display. So yep, that's just that, but overall, very good display nevertheless. Now let's move on and talk about the next thing here, and that's mainly about the processing power. Now you already know, like I mentioned earlier on, that the Realme GT2 Pro here comes with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. Apart from that, you also have your UFS 3.1 fast storage, you have your LPDDR5 fast RAM, so everything is going to be fast here. And using it on the daily, honestly speaking, I have not faced any instances where there were lags, there were delays. You don't get any of those things on the Realme GT2 Pro. Now, when it comes to gaming, I did notice that the Mobile Legends game, which I play the most, was not fully optimized yet because I could not push the graphics to ultra. I could only max out at high, and when I was playing the game, I noticed that the temperatures went up to about 42 degrees Celsius. So this is just a quick reference for you to know. It does get a little bit warm on the back here, although it is not hot to the extent where I have to put down the phone and stop gaming. Now, to give you another reference, I'm going to put on a very quick Geekbench score here so you have a brief idea on how much this device is able to perform. So yep, that is pretty much in terms of the performance. Overall, I would say that you will not be let down by the performance coming out from the GT2 Pro here. Everything is top of the line. It is equivalent to all the flagships that you are seeing being released today, and again, at a very affordable price. So that's what we can talk about in terms of the Realme GT2 Pro. Now, moving on to the next thing, let's talk a little bit about the the cameras. Now we do have a triple camera setup at the back here. We do have a 50 megapixel main sensor. We also have another 50 megapixel ultra wide, and last but not least, we have this microscopic camera at the back that, if you remember from a different brand, you are actually able to do microscope stuff by zooming into very small objects, and that's actually pretty cool. So in terms of the image quality coming out from the Realme GT2 Pro, now what I can say is that most of the pictures turned out really well. In terms of color accuracy, I noticed that it was very accurate. I did a quick test by taking photo of this red car, another yellow car, and a gray car, and I noticed that the colors were actually very true to life, so you won't have much of an issue there. They don't pop as much as other devices, so you will definitely be able to retain a little bit of color accuracy. Now, I did notice that on certain instances when I took some photos, it did turn out a little bit warmer than expected, but hopefully Realme is able to fix this in a future update. Otherwise, in terms of daylight shots, I would say that it is very good snapper for the Realme GT2 Pro. Now, in terms of the ultra wide, again, we are getting a super wide lens here. It is a 150 degrees lens, so you are able to capture a lot of information, a lot of the scene into your shot itself, and I think that's really good here. If you like to play with a lot of ultra wide shots, I think you will really enjoy the one on the Realme GT2 Pro. Now, last but not least, in terms of night shots, again, Realme is doing an excellent job here by brightening the entire image. The night images here come with minimal noise and a lot of detail, so again, great job to Realme with the GT2 Pro. Now, another fun stuff that you can find out with the Realme GT2 Pro here is that it does come with a couple of interesting street photography filters. Yes, they do come with that built in, and they are actually quite nice. I mean, if you don't really want to edit your photos, you can just use these filters right off the bat, and get those very sick street shots directly on the device itself. So that's very cool as well. Now, in terms of video, it's able to do 8K, but I would say that the sweet spot here is actually 4K at 60 FPS. The OIS in the camera system is actually able to stabilize the device very well. So you can take a quick look at this clip here to get a little bit of a feel on how the stabilization works on the Realme GT2 Pro. Now, moving on to the next point, let's talk a little bit about the haptics on the Realme GT2 Pro. We are having the next gen X-axis linear motor inside here, and I must say that it is excellent, guys. If you have not tried a really good haptic engine, you will really not understand what I'm saying, but on this device, all the vibrations are very crisp. In fact, when you interact with the device on Realme UI 3.0, like when you swipe back and all that, you get those tiny vibrations, and it just is so precise. It's one of the best haptics engine that I've felt so far on a device, so that's that. Now, moving on in terms of the speakers, yes, we do get dual stereo speakers. We do not get a headphone jack here, and the speakers works pretty fine. It gets fairly loud, definitely not super loud, but the audio quality here is very crisp and clear. Last but not least, in terms of the battery, we do have a 5000 mAh battery in this very slim body, although I do have to point out that battery life isn't its strongest point. Now, in terms of the screen on time, I noticed I was only getting about 5 to 6 hours. I'm not sure if I'm using the phone too heavily, but I definitely expected a little bit more from the 5000 mAh battery. Maybe, again, Realme might push out some updates to optimize the battery itself, but yeah, that's what you can expect in terms of the battery. Charging speeds wise, it is a good thing here because we do have the 66-watt charger in the box, and it's able to go from 0 to 100% in slightly more than 30 minutes. Alright guys, I think that's all I have to share with you for the Realme GT2 Pro review. Overall, would I recommend this device? I would say a definite yes. So not only does it come with a very powerful processor, you also get your fast RAM, your fast storage, decent cameras, awesome display at the front, guys, flat display, a decent battery, and of course you get this very interesting back panel too. So that's what you can get with the Realme GT2 Pro. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching till the end. I hope you did find this video useful and helpful, and don't forget to drop a like, sub to the channel. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Stay safe, everybody. Bye!